Hi loves, welcome back to the channel. Today in this video I'm going to be sharing with you guys how to draft a basic sleeve pattern. I know this is an extremely requested video, so I'm going to be sharing it with you guys right now. So if you're interested in knowing how to draft your basic sleeve, please keep on watching and let's get started with the video. So guys, to start off this tutorial, first thing we're going to go ahead and do is to draw a straight line across. So guys, when you're making this line, please try as much as possible to make sure that this line is in the middle of your pattern paper. So the next thing I'm going to go ahead and do is to just make a point right here. This is the top of the sleeve, and then from here I'm going to go ahead and measure the full length I want this sleeve to be. So when you've measured your sleeve, the full length you want it to be, you're going to go ahead and mark it on the other end. So guys, the next thing I want to go ahead and do is from this point here, I'm coming down by 4 inches for my bicep line. So this is not a stable number. If it depends on the kind of garments you are making. So if you are making a garment like a jacket, you might go down by like 7 inches. If you go down by 7 inches or 6 inches or 5 inches, you will notice that your arm is not able to actually move up freely. I'm sure you've noticed that when you wear a jacket, you're not able to move your hand freely. That's what happens when you go down by about 7 or 6 inches. But for a normal garment that you want to be able to move freely, I would advise that you come down by 4 or at most 5 inches. So the next thing I want to go ahead and do is divide my upper arm measurement by 2. So my upper arm measurement was 12 inches. That divided by 2 is 6. So I'm actually dividing that measurement, giving the same amount of measurement to both sides of the line. So I have 6 inches on one side and 6 inches on the other side as well. So after getting this, the next thing I'm going to go ahead and do is from this shoulder line, I'm going to go down to my elbow measurement, and that was 13 inches. After getting this point here, the measurement around my elbow as well, after taking the measurement around my elbow, I had 10.5 inches. So I'm going to divide 10.5 inches into 2, and I'm going to share the measurement again from the middle of this line here on both sides. I'll also go ahead and just use my ruler to connect these lines. So the next thing I want to go ahead and do is on this wrist here. To get the measurement around your wrist, one thing I normally do is to just fold my arm like this, just like you see me doing it like this, and I'm going to take a measurement, ensuring that my tape can actually move freely in and out of my arm. So when I've gotten that measurement, we'll divide it by 2 as well. So what I had here was 9, so that divided by 2 is 4.5. So I'll share that measurement again from the middle of the line. So now that we've gotten all these basic lines, the next thing I want to go ahead and do is to come to this top area, which is the major part. So I'm going to just make a triangle here, just connect these points just like you see me doing it like this, and I'm going to do the same thing for the other side as well. So guys, the next thing we're going to do is you're going to take the measurement from the middle to the other end of the triangle, and you're going to divide the measurement there by 2 at first. So I've divided what I have here into 2 equal halves first, and after doing that, you divide each half again by 2 again. So basically we are dividing each part of this into 4. So as you can see, we've divided this part into 4, so I'll just repeat the same thing on the other side as well. So guys, now that we're through dividing our sleeve top here, the next thing you want to do is to determine which part is going to be for the front and which part is going to be for the back. Now, the front and the back armhole is usually different because when we cut our basic bodies, you will notice that we actually cut the front and the back armhole separately. So can you see how there's a difference between the front and the back armhole right now? So that means that when you're also cutting out your basic sleeve, there needs to be a difference between the front and the back. So now just go ahead and label this area at the front, and then this part will be labeled B for the back. So the next thing we want to go ahead and do is from this top here, we're going to go out by 0.7 inches, not half, the next line after half. So I'll go out by 0.7 inches here, and then I'll also go out on this last one here by 0.7 inches. I went out on the top and went in on the last one. So the middle one is actually left the way it is. So I'm just going to come out like this so that you guys will understand what I'm trying to explain. So when you're through with that part, you come to the back. So for the back, just like you did at the top here, we're just going to come out by 0.7 inches as well. And just I'm going to connect it so that we know what we're connecting. And then for this last part here for the back, I'm going to separate this thing that I have here again. I'm going to divide it into two again. So I'm going to divide the last part of the back into two, and from that new point I'll go in by 1/2 of an inch. So the next thing I'm going to go ahead and do now is to connect these points. I realized that that curve cannot do it for me, so I'm basically doing it with my free hand. So from the top of the sleeve, I'm just going in with a curve to connect these points I just made, just like you see me doing like this. So from this top again, I'll do it for the other side as well, just like this. So when you're through with this, you've basically finished up with this sleeve cap length, and I'm sure you can notice already from the curve I have that there's a difference between the front and the back. So after doing that, the next thing I'm just going to go ahead and do is to join the other points of the sleeve, and that is basically all, and I'm just going ahead to cut it out. So guys, I'm sure you must have noticed that I'm yet to add any stitching allowance to this. You will go ahead and add stitching allowance when you are cutting on your actual fabric. So first, we're going to go ahead and take the measurement around here to be sure that it will actually go around our armhole. For me, my armhole measurement is 16. That's around my armhole is 16. So what I have here is 8 on this side, and on this other side I had 8.5. So yeah, that is basically all for this. 8 plus 8.5, that is 16.5, which is absolutely fine. So by the time you put your sleeve together, it's going to look something like this, and you can see that there's a difference between the way the front and the back is looking like. So when you are using this to cut on your actual fabric, I would advise that you add 1 inch stitching allowance to both sides. So from this side, you're going to add 1 inch, and on this top area you can go ahead and add 1/2 inch, and at the end you can also add 1 inch or more. This depends on how wide you want your fold at the wrist to be. So this top area, like I said earlier, is what will determine how easily it will be for you to actually raise your hand freely when you're putting on your top. So this is basically all for this basic sleeve pattern. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.